In this video, I want to take a few minutes to talk about genitive forms, specifically about noun endings for genitive singular. Before I get into that, though, I wanted to briefly remind you of how to tell the difference between a hard ending and a soft ending, a hard noun or a soft noun, if you want to think of it that way, because this will influence which ending you choose to put on the noun. As you know, Russian consonants can generally be either hard or soft, and you actually can tell whether it's hard or soft. And chiefly what you can tell is if you have a masculine noun, which has what we call a zero ending. There's no ending after it, and that's why there's a zero there in that first, as the first number after hard consonants. It's not an O, despite what it may look like. And there's nothing else after it, there's no mjaki znak, then it means that consonant is hard, and you will choose hard series endings whenever you put other endings on it. If, however, that consonant has a soft sign after it, then that's a good sign that the noun is soft and it will need soft endings. But they're not all masculine. Sometimes they have vowels after them, especially if they're neuter. It's going to be some forms o or ya. If it's feminine, it'll be an a or a ya. And so you can tell by the vowel whether the consonant is hard or soft. And so, as you see here, I have divided the vowels into those that are used with hard consonants and those that are used with soft consonants. So if you have a noun, a feminine noun that ends in an a, like kvartira, for instance, then that is a hard noun and you will put hard endings on it. If you have a noun that ends in a ya, like kuchnia, it's a soft noun and it will take soft endings. One thing to point out is that except for the spelling rules, you don't kind of cross the line. You only use these in the vowels in the second row with soft consonants. You never use the vowels from the first row with soft consonants, and vice versa. So if you start out with a ya, then it's going to be replaced with, not with an u, if it's accusative case, it's going to need to be replaced with a u. If you start out with an o, you're not going to replace the o with a ya. You're going to replace the o with an a. You're going to stay on the same side. I did say that the spelling rules form an exception to that. There are always exceptions, but this is the typical rule. And so this should help you if you can recognize whether something is hard or soft. One thing I did want to point out is that I kratkaya, which is a consonant. I used to think when I was a student for a long time that it was a vowel because it looks like a vowel. It sounds like one, a short E, but it's really a y sound, like the Y in English, which is a consonant, except sometimes, right? This one is always soft. So this one will take soft endings. And if we take a look at this list of nouns, you can see that the first one, so you have akno, that one is hard. Moria, soft. Bar, hard. Slavar, soft. Komnata, hard. Kuchnia, soft. And so you can look at these and tell which letters they would be replaced with, which vowels you replace the endings with when it's time to add endings. Now let's turn our attention to the noun endings, and I have kind of divided them. The first one that you will see is the hard ending, and the second one is the soft ending, because the hard endings are more common. Notice first off that masculine and neuter get the same exact ending in the genitive case, whereas feminine gets something different. And you can see here hard, so brat will become brata, akno becomes akna, gazeta becomes gazety. And then we have our soft endings, slavar, then slavaria, moria, moria. There's no difference in pronunciation here because of where the stress is, kuchnia, kuchni. And then I do show some spelling rules. If you need to review the spelling rules, go and find, hopefully I'll do another video, or you can look it up in your textbook, kniga, knigi. And so this spelling rule does violate what I was saying before. You start with an a, and then you end up with an e. So the spelling rules will require you to kind of cross this line in the chart and to use a mixture of hard and soft series vowels. That's what makes them spelling rules. Okay. Just a quick moment, a quick word about declining nouns, just in case you've forgotten. This should be review. But one of the first things you're going to do when you're going to put something into the genitive case is you need to decide whether the noun is masculine, feminine, or neuter. And once you've determined that, then you know whether you're going to need an a or a ya or an ui or e. Then the next thing is to decide whether the noun is hard or soft. So if we're looking at akno, we know that it is neuter. So it's going to get either an a or a ya. So let's look at it. It's got an o on the ending, and it's not a spelling letter rule at all. So it's going to be hard. So it starts out with an ending, then you have to take the ending off. You don't add endings onto endings in Russian. You always remove the endings first, you replace them. So we're left with okn. And then you look and you see if the remaining letter involves a spelling rule. There's no spelling rule here, so it's just going to be akna. Let's take a minute to look at kniga. We'll follow the same process. We realize that kniga is feminine. And the noun appears to be hard, although this is a spelling rule, as you'll see in a second. So we take the ending off, we end up with knig, and that is one of the spelling rule ones, so it will make a difference. The spelling rule says that you can't write ui after a g, so we get the ending knigi, even though it's otherwise a hard ending. And for masculine nouns, you're simply going to add the ending onto it because masculine nouns are zero endings if they're hard consonants. So koridor, you just add the a right on to it. But there is an exception. If it's a soft consonant that ends in a myakký znak or in ikratkaya, you remove the myakký znak or the ikratkaya first, and then you add the soft ending. So slavar becomes slavarya, the myakký znak leaves, and muzej, you also drop the kratkaya, but you still write ya, muzeja. And a word on fleeting vowels. If there is a fleeting vowel, you should drop the vowel before you add the ending. So отец, I put the fleeting vowel in parentheses, becomes отца, американец, американца, ковер, ковра. And the textbook, if you're using Galasa, does write their fleeting vowels this way. They put them in parentheses, so look for those so that you'll know that they drop out. Next up will be a little bit of practice. If you feel like you would like to do just a little bit of practice, I will show a noun in the nominative case, and then you can either say it or write it in the genitive case. If you're going to write it, go ahead and pause the video so you have enough time before I reveal the answer. So karandash, karandasha. So this is a simple masculine. It's a zero ending. It's a hard ending. This is a spelling rule letter, but the spelling rule in this case refers only to the ui or e. You can write a. In fact, you have to write a after hushers. Okay. Mama. You can pause if you're going to write it. Mamui. It's a hard ending. It ends in an a. Drop the a, add ui. Platya. Platya. There's no difference in pronunciation here. The ye indicates that it's a soft ending. So ye is replaced by ya. And the myakký znak stays here because it is not the last thing in this sentence. We drop the last thing, but we don't drop myakký znaks that come before vowels. Dimitri, notice that ikratkaya. Remember, we drop the ikratkaya, but we still write ya because ikratkaya is soft. Nedelya, nedeli. So ya is soft, ya goes to e. I hope you found this helpful.